Hi, Kat Chancellor here with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and my card today is a faux stepper card. It is featured by Sam Calcott of Mixed Up Craft. You know she's my favorite crafter because she comes up with some really cool folds. This is a very simple fold. It's not really hard to do. It's not a lot of cutting. There's just some two pieces and then some mountain folds. I'm using the Greatest Journey bundle, which includes both the stamp set and all these little dies that are in here. I'm going to be using some of the mountain dies, the cloud dies, and then some of the silhouette shapes. You can see I'm going to use that mountain die there in the back. I'm using the DSP. I'm cutting some clouds using the dies, and the DSP is the Enjoy the Journey. All of these were available in the mini catalog, and they will be retiring. So if you haven't gotten them, do so now. The card measures 6 by 6, and you'll have to make a custom envelope for that using an envelope punch board, but it is just a really simple and easy card. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to pull in some dies that I'll be using. I'm going to use the Runner Silhouette. I'm also going to be using, I believe, the Hiker Silhouette. I'm pulling in the tent, but I'm not going to use it in the end. I'm using the cloud dies and then the little walking stick die for the camper. Since the other card featured the lantern, this card's going to feature the little walking stick. I'm also pulling in that silhouette for the mountain that is going to go along the back of our card. I have a sentiment already on my acrylic block. There's some other lovely stamps that you can use if you want to. I am going to be featuring the colors from this DSP. That's the other side of the piece that I had cut using my sample card. I'm going to use that with garden green and some seaside spray, which kind of coordinates nicely. These are all the colors that you can find in the back of this sheet, which includes the garden green, Highland Heather, and Starry Sky ink that I'm going to be using for stamping the sentiment, and it coordinates nicely with the heather, Highland Heather, and the blues and the greens. I'll also be using garden green for the kind of the green, the coastal cabana, and the seaside spray colors that I'm going to be using that will coordinate with the second card. Now the pieces that you're going to need for the base card, you're going to need two pieces that are 6 by 9 inches. You're going to take your 6-inch by 9-inch piece, you're going to line it up along the 9-inch side, and you're going to score 1-inch, 2-inch, 4.5, 7, and 8-inch. Take your second piece for the second card, and again score at 1-inch, 2-inch, 4.5-inch, 7, and 8-inch, and those are going to be the bases. Now for my 4-inch piece, I'm just showing you that it's 4 by 11, and you're going to score at 1/2, 5.5, and 10.5. I'm using the for the other card, I'm using a 3-inch piece, and I'm doing the same thing, scoring at 1/2, 5.5, and 10.5 inches. Now we're going to cut our cardstock for both the front panel and the front back panel. The front panel we're using DSP, and the back panel we're going to use our cardstock. This front panel is going to be 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. That is going to go on the front. And then we're going to cut the front back panel. These are the pieces that are going to be layered where we're going to cut the mountain silhouette, and that piece is going to be 5 3/4 by 2 1/4, and that's going to be placed right there. And then we're going to cut the cardstock that we're going to layer for the silhouette, and this piece needs to be 2 by 5 3/4. And we're going to use our mountain die to go ahead and kind of cut that nice silhouette there. And those are our layers for that card. Now for our second card, using the same sizes for Whisper White, we're going to cut our back panel using Highland Heather. Again, this is 6. This panel is about 6 by 2.5. So that is why we need to cut this about 5 3/4. 5 3/4 by 2 1/4. And that will fit nicely right there. And then we're going to layer that with Night of Navy, and that is going to be cut 2 by 5 3/4. And I'm just making sure that I am getting that dimension correct, because I'm going to have to go back and recut the green, because I think the green is a little bit short. Now this is a little bit long, but don't worry about that. I will trim that later. Now for the front panel, I'm using this DSP, and I'm going to cut, it should be cut 3 3/4 by 4 3/4, because the front panel is 4 inches. That is the perfect size right there. I'm going to make a mistake here, and I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to have to correct my mistake later on. I shouldn't have done that, but I'm going to have to fix it later on, and I'll show you. I'm going to show you how I do it. Again, I'm just trying to get my dimensions correct. I'm going to flip this around because I kind of like that mountain peak, and I don't want it to cut into that. I'm going to save it for another card and put that aside. Now you can see I realized my mistake right here, and there it is. I cut that too short, and I'm going to have to repair that. So before we really start doing any kind of assembling, what you want to do is grab your sentiment and a stamping piercing mat. This is a photopolymer stamp. I like to have that stamping piercing mat, which just makes sure I have a nice base for the stamping. And I'm going to use my Starry Sky to stamp my sentiment in the middle. I'm cleaning my stamp, and I'm going to use my Garden Green for my other piece. And I'm going to center that as well right along that front panel of our base card there. As soon as you're confident that your ink is dry, you go ahead and fold back, fold forward, fold in half, fold back, fold forward, so that the front of your sentiment is showing, and that is your base of the card. And you're just simply creating some very simple mountains and valleys, and that's our base. Now we're going to go ahead and take our front panel, and we're going to adhere our designer series paper after we kind of fold the 2 tabs. Those 2 tabs are what are going to be adhering to our base, and we're going to go ahead and grab a silicone mat and add our multi-purpose glue to the back of our DSP, and we're going to apply that to our front panel and adhere it nicely there. We're then going to do some die cutting. We're going to do all our die cutting before we do our actual assembly. We're going to begin with the silhouette of our mountain, and I'm simply going to run that through our little mini die cut machine. It doesn't quite reach the end, but you can just simply either flip it around or just kind of line it up to the edge and grab a piece of, here I'm just using some mint tape or washi tape, and just adhere that right at to the corner, and then run that through one more time, and you'll have a very nice die cut silhouette and you can see how nice that comes out. So we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to use our Night of Navy. I cut that a little long, so I'm just going to trim it. Again, I'm going to run that through my mini die cut machine. And then just simply, you could either turn it around, you can use the same side. If you're using a larger machine, you have a little bit more leeway because you pretty much have to that has to go long ways, and that's why I'm kind of adhering it there to the edge of my die cut piece. Just put some tape and then just run that through again one more time. Sometimes it can be a little fussy, but if you get your plate to line correctly, it'll go straight through. And there you go. See, it adds a really nice edge. And just kind of clip that. And we're done with our silhouettes that are going to go on the back of they're the front back panel of our base card. Now we're going to go ahead and cut the rest of our pieces. These are primarily the silhouettes. I'm using just basic black cardstock. I'm using the little hiking pole there, the runner, and the hiker. I'm going to place this tent there, but I will not use it for this card. It didn't really go with the it kind of clashed with the colors, and it was really too big of an image to really fit into this design, so I chose not to do that. I'm going to go ahead and play some music and kind of show you how we're going to assemble a card. So sit back and enjoy. Remove the tear tape from your tabs and simply line the edge of the front panel to the edge of the top of the base panel. And the same with the back, only if you just kind of lay it out flat and then fold that back flap, it will, see how you just fold that back flap, it will line up nicely. I like to go ahead and adhere the clouds first because it's a lot easier on a flat piece of flat panel than after it's assembled. I like to put my silhouette on last. I'm using those black dimensionals, and then I have my third cloud. I kind of add that wherever I think I might need another little accent. And I'm using my mini white dimensionals here just to make sure that I have those nicely secured, and just kind of off right there. I like the way the clouds kind of go off to the edge. So there's that card. Now we're going to do the same for this card. I'm removing, I have my my hiker there, and I'm going to add my black mini dimensionals to the back of my silhouette. I'm just using pieces and parts of our dimensionals and just kind of cutting little pieces just to make sure that we have a good coverage on our piece that we're going to kind of pop up. You'll notice I did use the baker's twine to kind of cover my seam there on my mistake. I'm going to put her right above that, and I think she looks nice there. I've adhered all my clouds. I've kind of let the clouds kind of go off to the side. I kind of like the way they kind of spill out there. I'm adding my tear tape, and I'm going to go ahead and line the tear. I'm going to line that edge right with the edge, that scored seam right there to the front. And then we're just simply going to lay that flat. Then we're going to fold that the back flap over. It's going to adhere to the tear tape on our back panel, and there you go. If you turn the card around, there's plenty of room for a note, sentiment, or you can embellish more on the back if you'd like. The two examples, one with a 3-inch wide front panel, the other one with a 4-inch wide front panel, kind of gives you a little bit of flexibility with how you want to do it. Here I use some glimmer paper just to kind of add a little bit more interest and some other silhouettes from the die set. But I really like this, except for my little mistake there that I covered up with some baker's twine. My favorite, I think, is this one here with the runner. I think that's really a beautiful card. If you like these products, please act fast. These are currently part of the last chance offerings, and they will not be available after April. They are going to be retired as part of the current mini catalog because the new catalog is going to be rolling out soon. So please act fast on that. If you haven't already, please hit like. All the information is on my blog. If you're looking for a demonstrator, please consider joining my team or consider joining as a hobbyist for that extra 20% discount on all products, and with the new catalog coming out, that's a real benefit. If you are a demonstrator and you like my content, please support my channel by hitting like, share, and leave a comment. I really appreciate your support. This is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. Thank you so much for joining me, and happy stamping.